What's up, guys? It's me, JellyKnees, and I want to talk to you guys about one of the things I'm it's probably my second most hyped thing that I'm excited for about Ethereal Clash of Souls. The special abilities. So this, guys, it'll be mostly a talking head video. There's nothing really on screen to look at throughout most of it. If you watch this a couple times, you can put this in the background and just listen to me kind of drone on for a couple minutes. But here we go. Ethereal Clash of Souls. Every myth will have a ability that has a pro and a con attached to it outside of their ultimate. So in the case of the extra life test, when we were playing, it was Dante's right click. His right click offered that he tossed a volley of shots out and then was unable to do anything but walk for several seconds. I don't have the exact timings. I don't know the damage. I don't know anything like that. All I can say is it was high damage, and then I couldn't cast, shoot, left click, a basic attack. I couldn't do anything but walk around the map after using this ability. And every myth will have an ability that has a pro and a con like that. Something that will be massive when it works, but detrimental when it's backfiring. And I think that that's probably the mechanic that could make or break kit design for Ethereal more so than anything else. Class abilities, yeah, they're cool and they're innovative and they're potentially big and impactful on the game, but these will have a direct impact for each and every myth that could pose huge changes between games depending on which myths you're using. It adds an extra element of strategic. Wow, I can't say that word. Strategy. I almost said strategery. Strategy to the game where I can look for the enemy myth's weakest moment. That if they use the right click and like Dante, I know that they can't attack me for several seconds, that's my window to strike. And I think that is the biggest, it raises the skill ceiling on encounters. It lets me as a player go, okay, they're just now using the right click. In 2 seconds, they'll be done. And then that's my window to go in and do basically as much damage as I want with little to no repercussion to that myth specifically. Now, what I want to do is, it's been time. It's been long enough, okay? I have to don my tinfoil hat, and we're going all out on this. In the post, oh man, this is great, isn't it? In the post that they talked about these special abilities, they mention several potential quote unquote pros and cons that some myths may have. I think that these pros and cons probably do apply to myths we already know about. And so I've come up with a list of what the pros and cons are and who I think they could apply to in that regard. So, first one off the bat is a movement speed increase or a movement speed decrease. I'm guessing that those are either side, the pro and the con. And I came up with 3 people that I think that this could apply to most. And I'll give some justification as to why I think it's these 3. It's Marina, Zero, or Leah. Zero and Leah, I think because they're the first Sky Slayers, I think they have the potential to have something about them. Leah especially being kind of more nature-based, that the wind flows through their wings slightly faster and gives them a burst of movement speed, but then they're slowed down for a period of time. If you guys play League of Legends, Blitzcrank has an ability that does this, where he speeds up slightly and then slows down after the initial speed up for a couple seconds. I think so. Those are the 2 there. Marina, I feel like could have a right click where she creates water in front of her and gains movement speed accordingly on that. But at the same time, she could lose movement speed while she's on land, or when the water fades away, she loses movement speed over a time, or she slows allies around her that aren't in the water. I feel like she has the most potential outside of the Sky Slayers to have an ability that does that. Second one, more damage, deal more damage, or receive more damage as the pro and con. I came up with 3 people that I think are most likely to have something among this line, among this train of pros and cons. but I don't have great information one way or the other about why each one is just kind of more feeling than anything. I have Malaya, Acheron, and Exiel. Malaya and Exiel, it could be something to do with their backstory. They come from the same tribe of people, so it could be that that tribe has advanced ways of dealing damage and receiving damage, for lack of a better way to put it. I admit that that's very weak. Malaya's claws could be a part of the dealing more damage, but she's susceptible to more damage at the same time. Exiel's second form could be the part that deals more damage, but that he's more vulnerable by association with it. But Acheron, I think, is the one that has the most potential to be this, in that we see his sword that he uses has some kind of flame to it, some kind of hot element, and that maybe he sears and cuts through people with extra like fire damage attached to his abilities, but in the process of creating that heat in his blade leaves himself more vulnerable to attacks from other things as well. Those are the three for that. Now there's this next one. I basically think that there's only one option for, and it's gotta be that this is the person it's for. It's decreased cooldowns with a con of higher ability cost. So I can cast more often, but it costs me more to cast. I think the only person that could work for is Malware. To me, decreasing the cooldowns on himself, he's made a program that he can decrease the cooldowns, but at the cost of memory efficiency, at the cost of doing things, the processing faster. So it costs more resources in order to have that lowered cooldown. Only person I think that can fit that we know about. Granted, this is all speculation, guys. It could be any number of myths that we don't know about, haven't heard of yet, but we'll have to wait and see there. Now there was an extra pro listed and an extra con that I don't think go with each other. So we'll talk about the extra pro first. I think this extra pro is that they would gain additional gold. To me, there's a couple myths that might fit this profile a little bit better than the others, being Talos, Nikolai, or Grace. Talos is a known huntsman. It's something he did. He was known as like the protector or something like that, where he used to have a shield and now he has an axe. He's kind of, in my mind, a gun for hire, or an axe for hire, I guess I should say. And so if he does things around the map, maybe he gets extra gold for doing those things on top of his class passive or class ability. Nikolai, being a performer, could do some kind of performance ability where anything he kills using that ability, he gains additional gold at the same time. And then Grace, being a combat medic, maybe is getting paid to heal people. So when she uses her right-click ability, might get gold for doing so and make her more viable in the meta because of that. But we know very little about Grace, so this is literally like the furthest stretch of tinfoil hat that I can go for. The extra con that was listed, though, is you blind yourself in place. To me, those are very specific words, blind yourself in place. So it sounds like a root and a silence. That you're silencing yourself, you can't cast abilities, but you're also stuck in your position. So I know this doesn't apply to Dante, because Dante was able to move around when we used his right click. I guess I should say that it probably doesn't apply to Dante because of that reasoning. So the three people that I came up with for this ability, or this con, is Noxus, Kalia, or Acheron as well. Noxus and Acheron both are blind, or at least they wear face coverings over their eyes. In doing that, it seems like a little on the nose to say blind yourself in place, but I think it's the blind and in place that makes me feel like it's one of those two myths that has this con. The other one is Kalia. Knowing that Kalia is a kitsune, most often we see in MOBAs, kitsunes have some kind of charm ability or something of the like. It could be that her charm ability is something that if she misses it, she stands there and doesn't do anything for a while and can't move and can't cast, which I feel like is a potential, but I don't have a ton of information saying that will be what it is. But guys, tinfoil hat time is over. That's all I got for my crazy big brain theories. And that's all I have in terms of special abilities. But guys, if you like this video, please hit subscribe and the like button. It helps me out a ton. And if you want to leave a comment below as to who you think the pros and cons could apply to and what you think pros and cons could be for Ethereal in the future, I would love to read through those and talk to you guys more about that as well. If you guys are looking for more up-to-date information on Ethereal, there is a podcast that I do with Mangoose called Enter the Ether that I'll leave links to in the description for a playlist and all the podcast places that we supply to. But guys, have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.